And we are live. Welcome to another edition of the WebCasting Dead mid-season premiere, episode 9 and episode 10, Adaptation and Omega. Really, really great episodes. So let's just get right into it. So we start off with the mid-season premiere, episode 9, Adaptation, written by Corey Reed and directed by Greg Nicotero. He does some really good episodes. We've mentioned it a whole bunch of times before on the show about the really good episodes he's directed and even written too. He's written a few of them, and this is one of them. And my God, I gotta say the momentum going. And I think when we last was left off, we was kind of worried that they might not get the momentum keep going on in this season like they did in the earlier episodes. But I got to say, this episode was just terrific.
It really was. It was one of the better episodes that I've seen. Especially of this season, and then I think every episode since season 9 has been really, really good. Excuse me, since episode 5, rather.
Yeah.
The final
I completely
episode.
agree.
The final Rick episode. I think every
and
episode
I gotta
since,
say that. And I gotta say that I'm not missing Rick. They actually kept this story really, really interesting without Rick, and I'm kind of I'm not missing him that much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really not missing Rick either. I mean, I know he was a very important part of The Walking Dead, but gosh, with the ensemble cast that they have, the cast has really stepped up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of them, Michonne, she's really stepped up.
Yeah, she really has.
And we see that in this episode here of when she basically kidnaps one of the Whisperers and holds her hostage, Lydia. And we have Daryl trying to figure out who she is, where she came from, is there more of them? And there's absolutely a ton of more of them.
Basically, the mid-season premiere picked up right where the mid-season finale left off. I mean, you have the cliffhanger with Michonne, Eugene, Aaron,
Jesus,
but he was dead. Magna and Yumiko. And they were in the graveyard. They managed to fight their way out. And then the one thing that I thought was genius, what Daryl did was he decided, you know what, since we can't tell who's who, I'm going to shoot one of them in the leg with an arrow and see who see what happens. First shot was a walker. Of course, it doesn't affect walkers very much because they're already dead. But he shoots a whisperer. Whisperer starts like that, and walkers realize, wait a minute, he's not one of us, and they start eating him.
That was just great.
Yeah,
I mean, that was just absolutely great, and I love the masks for the Whisperers. Oh my God, that was so great. Those masks that I'm sure Greg Nicotero had a hand in creating those, but I absolutely love the masks, and I was kind of worried of how they was going to pull those masks off, and they did a tremendous job creating those things.
They really did. They really did. The masks are pretty scary. I mean, they look intimidating. They really do.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is with the Whisperers, I mean, obviously they are trying to blend in with the Walkers. That's their thing. And they seem to be doing a good job of that. They want to make sure that that there's no there's no detecting of any sort of humanity, in them.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't seem to see much humanity with them because of the things they do. And we'll especially see that with Alpha in the origin story episode.
And
we'll talk
the
more
next
about.
episode, Omega.
Yeah.
But this episode was mainly just establishing the Whisperers.
Yes, it was. It really was. They are a constant threat, no question about it. They are a new threat.
Yeah, it's something they've never seen before. It's a new threat that's evolved. It's like, who would ever thought that? Just taking the dead's head and creating a mask out of it and putting it on and trying to blend in as the walkers. Something they've actually kind of did in previous episodes where they take the guts and they put them on themselves. But this right here is just a whole nother level.
Yeah, this is something completely different. This is an amazing thing to see. To see the actual. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, we've seen where survivors would do that. They would blend in, but not like this. This is going to a completely different level altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, these people live out in the woods, and Daryl was asking Lydia, where's your encampment? And they said, we really don't have an encampment.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem to, based on the 2 episodes we've seen from the mid-season, they don't seem to have a permanent base of operations.
Yeah, they're more mobile. They follow the herds and everything.
Yes, that's what they do. They follow the herds of walkers. They don't seem to establish an encampment for very long.
Mm-hmm.
If they establish any at all, which they don't seem to.
Mm-hmm.
So they managed to grab Lydia, and they kind of, she's like, "Don't kill me, don't kill me." And this was on a covered bridge, by the way, where this happened, where the stuff happened with with shooting the Whisperer in the leg, and then they grabbed Lydia. They managed to capture Lydia.
Mm-hmm.
This happened on a covered bridge, and meanwhile, they managed to get everybody back to a hilltop. Everybody managed to get back to the hilltop. They brought Jesus back. Now, I'm wondering, did they put Jesus down? Because I don't know if they did put him down or not. I didn't see them stab him in the head.
They might have off screen.
They might have.
We probably just didn't see it.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I love the whole the beginning of the episode where they're still in the cemetery and they kind of flash back to what happened in the last episode at the mid-season finale. And I just loved it. It was like straight out of Night of the Living Dead. And Greg Nicotero, I think he's like a huge fan of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And it was a great way to put that touch of Night of the Living Dead in that episode. And that's something else we haven't seen, is them battling the zombies in a freaking cemetery. And I hope we get more scenes like that, more in cemeteries and stuff. I think it's just fantastic.
That would be great. I mean, it's very much. I mean, so many individuals who reviewed that episode, the mid-season finale, said this was like a horror movie. It was just like something out of an 80s horror movie. Being in the cemetery with fog surrounding and everything.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Right out of a cemetery. 80s movie.
80s horror movie, like a living, Return of the Living Dead or something like that.
Yeah, or Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I mean it was amazing. It just the way the cinematography on that, the way they shot it, everything was just perfect.
Mm-hmm. So in this, I think in this episode, we also see Negan. We see him escaping from the cell,
Yeah,
and he does.
he steals Judith's compass,
Yeah,
and he's about to climb over the
we see.
wall, and Judith looks like she's about to stop him. He says, "Hey, if I go out there, there's nothing for me. I promise I'll come back."
Mm-hmm.
But he's climbing over the wall at Alexandria,
Yeah,
and
so we see some great interaction between Judith and Negan, and
yes,
Judith is basically the Carl surrogate for this, and I was kind of weary about them having Judith interacting with Negan because it's kind of not being traditional with the comic books, but I'm actually enjoying it because it's
oh
like
yeah,
a father and a daughter type bond moment, and he
mm-hmm.
sees something in Judith. He sees something in Judith. Negan sees something in Judith, and I
He
really love the
does.
interaction between the two.
Yeah, the back and forth between the two is really great. I think it's
Mhm.
terrific. The way that
Yeah,
they,
I love the line. I think it was in this episode. Yeah, it was in this episode. I think it was later in the episode where she's like, "Don't cuss, I'm a kid."
he says, "Don't
That was just
language.
great.
I'm a
Yeah.
kid, asshole." That's
Yes,
what she
yes, that
said.
was it. I laughed so freaking hard
That
at
was
that. That
funny.
was great. That was great.
He So what happens is he goes back to the sanctuary.
Mhm.
There's nobody there except Big Richie, who's been turned into a walker. Only thing Negan is armed with is a lead pipe. He doesn't have. He has
Yeah.
not found Lucille.
Yeah, and I think that was the main reason he wanted to go out was to look for Lucille. And I think that's the other reason why he went back to the sanctuary is to see if he could find Lucille there.
Mm-hmm. But he realizes really there's nothing out there for him.
Yeah,
He kind of comes to that realization there's nothing out there for him because he has to eventually kill off Big Richie or put him down.
yeah,
And he says, Big Richie, it just ain't working out.
yeah. That was great. Great interaction, and we didn't see Negan in the next. I am quite intrigued of how they're going to have Negan interact with the Whisperers, or if
Mm-hmm.
he's going to ever interact with the Whisperers.
So he decides. Now he found a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
He found a motorcycle at the sanctuary. He rides it back up the road, and Judith shoots the motorcycle or shoots at Negan,
Mm-hmm.
causing Negan to wreck out the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he agrees to go back with her.
Yeah.
I think yeah. You said he sees something in her. I think he likes her. He likes her. It's like it
Yeah.
is like a
Yeah.
like she's a
And I
daughter to
think he
him.
sees. Yeah, and I think he also sees that she's just like her big brother Carl. And I
Uh
think
huh.
we're probably going to see some more interaction between Negan and Judith, where he talks about Carl and talks about Rick, and how he's probably telling her that you're just going to end up liking being like them or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. But it's some great interaction between them and well remember before he left he said before he left Alexandria he said listen if I have to come back, she said, you even go back in the cell? He said, yes, I'll go back in the cell.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that
And
he's
this is a completely different Negan we're seeing. Negan from season 7 and 8. This is a completely Negan.
yeah. And you think about this. Remember, by the time Maggie confronted him, if you remember, he was pretty well. He was he was done as far as he was. It's as if he was just no threat to anybody anymore. Not really, kind of a paper tiger, you might say.
Yeah.
He he realizes that he's going to have to try to survive. I mean, he was killing walkers, obviously.
And the fun fact was when Negan is the exact size as Lucille. So that was great purposes.
Yeah.
Was at the door.
Okay. So anyway, so that they take Lydia, they put her in a cell not very far from Henry. Henry's still locked up because of his little night of debauchery and drinking. They still have him locked up, but they have Henry kind of almost befriending Lydia. It's almost as if they want to establish a relationship with Henry and Lydia. And Daryl is basically interrogating Lydia. She's like, "How many are in your group? Who all is in your group?" And she's telling him various numbers, things like that, saying, we only just my mom, or we just have 10, or we just have this many. And I mean, it's an obvious lie, and Daryl's not buying it. So we have that little conflict there. We also have Henry trying to sort of we have Henry sort of you might say falling for her, even though I mean really he should know better because she could turn out to be just as bad as she could turn out to be just as bad as her mother. Well, another thing we see in this episode is Luke and Alden are out. They're actually out looking for Yumiko. Or I can't remember what happened, how they got set, how they went out. Oh yeah, no, they were sent out to try and find the group. They didn't realize the group that went to the cemetery, and they didn't realize the group from the cemetery had already gone back to Alexandria. Referring to Luke and Alden. Alden, the former savior, who is now he kind of became Maggie's right hand man, and they find some arrows from Yumiko, but then they come across what they think are walkers. It turns out they're whisperers led by Alpha, and Alpha, and they're all the whisperers are standing there looking at them. They're definitely not walkers. We can tell that, and they take Alden and Luke prisoner. So now we have this dynamic where Alden and Luke are now prisoners of the Whisperers, and that's gonna figure into something that happens tomorrow night, from what we see in the previews. we see that the Whisperers are going to ask. They're asking for Lydia back because they know Lydia is at the hilltop, and they obviously Alpha wants her daughter back. So that leads into the second episode of Omega, where we see what is really a terrific origin story for Alpha and for Lydia. It turned out that, oh, you're back?
All right. So where you at?
I was just going over the other storyline from the episode Adaptation, which was Luke and Alden, who'd been sent out to look for the group, but it turned out that they already went back to Hilltop. And of course, they buried Jesus.
Yeah.
Built him a. Oh yeah, something else I forgot to talk about. Rosita. Rosita turns out she'd had some.
The big revelation.
She'd had some hanky-panky going on with Sadiq, apparently, before she and Father Gabriel got together.
Yeah.
And it turns out she's Breggers.
Yeah, with his baby, Sadiq's baby. And Eugene is kind of taking it hard, I believe, because
Eugene has feelings for Rosita.
Yeah.
And Eugene, of course, they got him recovering from what happened. Remember, he broke his leg, so he's obviously recovering from that. And he overheard Rosita mention she was pregnant. She actually had morning sickness, so she had to make a deposit, as it were.
Yeah.
She got sick, so of morning sickness, as I mentioned. But anyway, like I say, the Whisperers, they managed to grab Sadiq and not Sadiq, Alden and Luke. Because Luke actually, I thought it was interesting the conversation between Luke and Alden. Alden talking about being a singer, and Luke says, "Well, we may hear you sing yet." And Luke talked about his background as a music. Luke was talking about his background as a music teacher. So that was pretty interesting, kind of them talking about their mutual interests and things like that. But I was also talking about how Lydia had been captured, and they were Daryl was kind of interrogating her, like, how many are in your group? Who all's in your group? Just my mom. We have just 10 of us. And Daryl doesn't believe her.
And it's way more than 10, as we see in the next episode. Way much more.
It is. Yeah, a lot of them. I'd say about maybe, 50?
At least 50, maybe even 100.
Yeah. They have quite a few because they have to have quite a few to blend in with the actual walkers. It's at least 50 and probably 100. Because we do see
because we see in the preview. We do see in the preview for tomorrow night's episode, and they came just out of the woodwork, and there was like a crap ton of them.
So, anyway, I think we've gone over all the major points of first episode.
Yeah.
It was a really great way to establish the Whisperers, and they did a good job with it.
Yeah, I think they did a great job
bringing them in as a true threat, as a legitimate threat.
Hmm. Hmm. And if I had to rate this episode, I'd give it at least maybe an 8.
Yeah, eight is pretty high
Because
rating.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There were a few points in the episode where it was just a tad bit slow, but other than that, I thought it was a really strong episode.
Oh, I think it was. I think it was a very strong episode. Adaptation was really good, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, adaptation could have more than one connotation.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of an adaptation for the survivors, because they're having to adapt to this new group, this new
Mm-hmm.
threat.
Yep.
And also you have the adaptation. You have the Whisperers having to adapt from their idyllic lives to lives of basically wandering from place to place, being nomads, you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, and also with Negan adapt to the outside world after being in prison for a few years.
But he finds that he doesn't adapt to it very
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah, we
nobody
do see.
there's
Yeah.
nobody left for him. There's nobody left. No
Mm-hmm.
saviors. All the saviors are gone, or they
Mm-hmm.
defected. I mean, Laura is part of the
Mm-hmm.
hilltop. Not hilltop. Alexandria,
Mm-hmm.
and Alden is part of the hilltop.
Yeah.
And most of the rest of the saviors are dead.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say? You were going to say
Let's see
something.
here. I was just reading through some of the notes in the episode. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty solid episode. I really enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get to Omega, which has a great origin story for Lydia and Alpha.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
told.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's told through. Interesting thing is, it's told through these different. I mean, you have sort of reception of the flashback, then you have the actual flash. It's like Lydia had
Mm-hmm.
different perceptions of what happened,
Mm-hmm.
but she was fooled by her mother into believing one thing was true, but it turned out another thing was true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like she thought that she thought her father had shaved his beard off, but that's not what happened. Alpha shaved her head, actually,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
the one guy
Yeah. So
died, and then he
it's
turned into
yeah,
a
the
walker.
flashbacks are going. Yeah, so the flashbacks it was I really enjoyed the flashbacks because like you
Yeah.
said, it was told through Lydia's perspective while it was showing actually happen as well. So it was like two different flashbacks.
Mm-hmm. We it turned out that Lydia had a father, and
Mm-hmm.
Alpha was married to a guy named Frank,
Mm-hmm.
and then Alpha figured that the guy was too weak, so she killed him.
Mm-hmm.
But we see Lydia, telling these flashbacks or telling the story to Daryl and to Henry. Henry's still locked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like it was make a little romantic relationship between Henry and Lydia because Henry was still locked up because he still had one more night of, I guess, probation, if you want to call it, because of what
Yeah.
happened with him and the teenagers that he was with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there was trying to little romance blossoming between Lydia and Henry. What is that something that you see that's going to be further involved with this with Lydia and Henry in the upcoming episodes?
It's a good question, and I don't know if it's going to happen that way or not. It could. There's distinct possibility we could see a relationship between those two. Very distinct possibility. Now, I mean, if Lydia is truly wanting to break away from her mother, break away from the Whisperers,
yeah, and we do see that later in this episode when Henry takes Lydia out of the cell, and she was about to kill him with the hammer, but she have PTSD, and she says, "Take me back to the cell. Take me back to the cell," because she was basically brainwashed by her own mom, saying civilizations like Alexandria and the kingdom and the hilltop aren't going to be stable, aren't going to last long enough. And she sees for herself that her mother has been wrong, and she kind of got some kind of anxiety attack and begged Henry to take her back to the cell and lock her up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You hit on it. I think you hit on it just very well. PTSD. Yeah, I think that's what that's what it was. It was PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing, the way that they shot that, the way that they the way they scripted that. Yeah, I do like I like what they did. So, but yeah, I mean, and we had the other the main focus, obviously, of the episode was the main focus of the episode, of course, was the flashbacks with Lydia and her mother. Let's see. I can't remember if there was like a subplot or not. I don't think there was much of a subplot. And Shane, of course, mentioned that Henry had been Henry had oh, you're back.
Yeah, it was the Nigerians.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I think the main I don't think there really was much of a subplot in this episode.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Mainly focusing on the origin of the Whisperers. We haven't even. I don't think that the past episodes, the past seasons of The Walking Dead, I don't think there was ever an origin story quite like this, and not that I can remember.
Well, we had different what's the word I'm looking for? We had different iterations of flashbacks for Lydia because again, Lydia remembered it one way because of what her mother told her.
Yeah.
What her mother manipulated her into believing. But then she actually remembered it she actually told it the way it was rather than telling it the way her mother manipulated her into believing it.
Yeah, and I love the interaction between Daryl and Lydia, where he was interrogating Lydia.
Remember, she said her ear was hurting. Remember, she was pulling on her ear, and and he said, "You want some pills?" You know, and then remember, at first she was kind of. Remember, at first she was kind of. She was like, "No, I don't want any help." You know, he was trying to give her water, and she was acting like she wanted to try and break out or something.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and I think the main reason because of that is because her mother said that if you're hurt, you're soft. And she's hurting her ear, and she's thinking, well, since I'm in pain, that makes me soft, so I don't want anything to help the pain. I want to push on through the pain.
Oh, the subplot for this episode was with Yumiko and Magna and Kelly and Connie. Connie, the deaf girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting to go find
I think they were out looking for Luke.
They went out looking for Luke. And they went out in the middle of the night, and Tara had some of her people follow them. So Tara knew what they were doing and knew what they were up to. And she didn't seem to be all that upset about it. Tara didn't. She just said, "Hey, just next time, let me know when y'all do that."
Yeah, and I think this is the point where it marks officially that Tara is taking over the hilltop. Due to Jesus' death, and since Maggie is a guest with Georgie's group, so this is official. Tara, she's taking over.
Yeah, that's where Maggie is. She's with the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, of course, Lauren Cohen. All that new series premieres this Wednesday. The new series, Whiskey Cavalier.
Yeah, and they actually had a commercial. I don't know if you saw it, but there was actually a commercial.
Yeah, they did. They actually had more than one. Yeah.
During The Walking Dead.
I know. I saw it. It's gonna be on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I guess. But what happened was they decided, referring to Magna, and they decided, you know what, it'd be a waste of time. We can't see out here, and we'd be moving targets with these lights because of the walkers.
Yeah.
And the Whisperers. So they decide they're going to go back. So they go back. And of course, Tara found out. And then we also see that Alpha and the Whisperers show up, or at least I'm not sure. I'm not sure it was all the Whisperers.
Yeah,
there were quite a few of them, though.
Quite a few of them. Yeah, but I loved this ending. This, I think, is one of the best cliffhanger endings that The Walking Dead has ever done in a while. I mean, you have Alpha showing up at the gates of Hilltop, asking for Lydia.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing. And, it was a great cliffhanger ending.
Alpha General, this Alpha woman. I would love to see her and Negan together, not together, but on opposite sides. Because man, I think that'd be great. And I'm talking about season 7 and season 8 Negan. Negan's got to get his mojo back, and I think he's got to find Lucille before he can get his mojo back. And I don't know if you touch on this, but in the last episode, he finds a leather jacket and puts it on. And
he did.
To me, To me, he's like, well, this is the leather jacket, but it's not complete without Lucille. He needs his
Yeah,
Lucille. I
yeah.
wonder if the Whispers have Lucille.
Ooh, I don't
That just
know.
came in my head. The Whispers. They might have Lucille. What? I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Whispers has Lucille. I think that would be great.
Ooh,
I think that would be freaking epic if Lucille is in the hands of the Whisperers.
yeah. That was pretty cool. That he found that leather jacket. He puts that leather jacket on.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went into this. It was like a men's clothing store.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he found the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, this week, like I say, yeah, the origin of Alpha and Lydia, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that storyline. And like I say, the
Yeah.
fact that it wasn't completely cut and dried, that it was
Mm-hmm.
two different remembrances of these incidents that occurred. That
Yeah.
Alpha was always a bit off balance.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that they sang the song. She, and remember the song that the ringtone for
Yes.
Lydia on Breaking Bad.
Yes.
That was the
Lydia.
song
Oh,
they were
Lydia.
singing. Yeah,
That was great. That was a
yeah,
great freaking callback. I don't know
it
if
was.
it was great. No, this is not the same Lydia from Breaking Bad. To
No, it isn't.
be honest with you, yeah. Uh, I got to give this episode. I got to give the last one. I gave it an 8. I'm going to give this a 9, 9.5.
Yeah,
Just that cliffhanger. Just that cliffhanger. Just because of that cliffhanger. Love the freaking cliffhanger.
absolutely. Yeah, this was tremendous. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that in the previews we're going, well, we saw where Kelly and Connie were kind of caught out, and Kelly
Mm-hmm.
went and hid in the cornfield.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Luke,
we
I think
see,
Luke was kidnapped by the Whisperers, right?
yeah, Alden too.
Yeah,
And there's, I don't know if we're going to
yeah.
see
So
the like,
basically, go ahead.
because they were asking for Lydia back, and Daryl was like, "No, we're not going to give
Mm-hmm.
them to you." So the Whisperers may have to kill Alden and Luke.
Yeah, that's yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
It would be because we haven't had any character deaths really since the
Yeah,
mid-season
since Jesus.
premiere.
Yeah,
Well, that was the
Jesus is the
mid-season.
only finale. Yeah,
Well, that was in the mid-season finale.
yeah. Ooh, man, that'd be brutal because yeah,
Now
yeah.
there
So
were some
basically, it's just
there
one
were
big trade off. One big trade off with Luke and Alden for
for
Lydia.
Lydia. Yeah, there were some memes that said that made Jesus out to be like Jesus Christ. Like, well, we didn't see him turn, or we didn't see him get put down. So
he's gonna he's gonna be resurrected somehow.
yeah,
Maybe he doesn't have the thing in his system to make him a zombie.
maybe, I don't know.
But let's see here. Yeah. So do you believe what Alpha said at the end? You know, we want Lydia back, and we'll leave you guys alone. Do you think that we're really going to
Hmm.
leave them alone?
You know what? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I can't say for sure one way or the other if they would leave them alone or not. I don't know. Be interesting to see if they do leave them alone.
Yeah,
If if
I don't
if indeed they
because
do make,
yeah.
if they make the trade, of course.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like they're not making. It seems from the previews is that Daryl is not going to make the trade, but that's just the previews. It's just a teaser. So I'm excited for tomorrow night's episode, and
Oh
tomorrow night's
yeah,
episode
yeah.
is
My gosh. So
Bounty.
far, just with the 2 episodes of the mid-season, after the mid-season premiere, wow, it has been incredible.
And I know some people out there is thinking, well, AMC is paying you to know. AMC's not paying us to tell this. We'll tell you how it is. Just like an example, the first 3 episodes of the first half of the season, we were like, that was a chore to get through.
The third episode, actually, I enjoyed the third episode.
Yeah, what was the third episode?
It was the second episode was really a kind of a clunker.
Yeah.
Of the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
First episode was pretty good, but when they after the third episode, man, that's when they really. And then of course when they hit the 5th episode where we saw the last of Rick, that's where it really kicked off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree. The second episode was just a chore to watch, but leading up to Rick's final episode, I think it was really strong, and even past Rick's final episodes, those were really strong too.
Yeah,
going into the second half of the season, it was pretty. It's going on strong. It's going on strong.
It is. Oh yeah, tomorrow night. I
know. Hopefully they can. Bounty is tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, I noticed we see Ezekiel and Carol tomorrow night.
Ooh. Oh, speaking of Carol, we do know for the fact why Carol cut her hair was because of her husband.
Oh yeah, we found that out.
Abusing her. So so when Henry was talking about his adoptive mom and dad, and what Carol told him, he was telling Lydia about this, about how Carol used to be abused by her husband, and the reason why she cut her hair. Yeah, by Ed, and the reason why she cut her hair was so that he wouldn't pull on it and yank on it. And Henry said that now she feels that she's safe now and that she can let her hair grow out.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was a great way to, do the whole hair thing. Because I still don't like long hair Carol, but I love there's actually a backstory to why she cut her hair off and now she's letting it grow out. That was a fantastic idea. I applaud whoever wrote that idea in.
That was great. That was definitely great. The explanation for why she didn't feel safe growing her hair out originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, these last 2 episodes have just been really incredible.
Mm-hmm. So tomorrow night's episode is called Bounty. And we do see the kingdom is going to be in this episode. And we do see the confrontation between Alpha and Hilltop and Daryl. So any predictions for tomorrow night and leading in through the rest of the season?
With this show, it's really hard to tell because sometimes they throw you curveballs.
Yeah, I think, and I gotta agree with you on that. When we started this series, it was pretty obvious where they was heading to, and we could have, easily predicted earlier. But since this new season now with the new showrunner Angela Kang, this is kind of pretty hard to predict of where they're going. But I got to say that it's going to be Whisperer heavy. I can feel that right now. It's going to be Whisperer heavy in these few episodes.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think the Whisperers are really going to be the prominent. They're going to be the predominant threat.
Mm-hmm.
Not just one. Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, the Walkers are pretty easy to handle.
Yeah, they're more of the background character.
They've had, the survivors have had more experience now with dealing with the Walkers. They know how to deal with the Walkers.
Yeah.
That's not much of an issue for them. Walkers,
Mm-hmm.
they can take a knife, take a knife or something, stab them in the head, or stab them up under here or whatever. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But the Whisperers are a completely different kettle of fish altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Whisperers are a true threat because they're dressed like walkers, and if, let's say, one of the survivors tries to swipe at one of the Whisperers, they can dodge. Much like what happened to Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think also in these episodes, we'll probably learn more about Daryl's scars on his back because they talked about it. Michonne's too, because they kind of brought it up where he was abused by his father and his brother Merle in this episode when he was interacting with Lydia, and he was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow night is called Bounty. Ooh.
Bounty. Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for us tonight. So what we're going to do is wait until the season finale to come back and talk about all the episodes and what happened instead of doing it individually. Also, we did mention about Breaking Bad a little bit earlier. It's been confirmed that there's going to be a Breaking Bad movie with Jesse, and Vince Gilligan is going to direct it. It's going to be on Netflix. So let me bring that up.
And yeah, I read that, and it's eventually going to be on AMC.
Yeah. Is it going to be on Netflix first, then AMC?
I think that's the way they're doing it. I think it's going to be on Netflix first, then it's going to be on AMC. So even if you don't have Netflix, you can always see it on AMC.
Okay, so the movie is going to be a sequel around Jesse. So it's probably going to be picking right up where we saw her. I saw Jesse leaving the Nazis' compound.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, since we've got Better Call Saul going on, I wonder if some elements of Better Call Saul is going to be in the movie.
Ooh.
I wonder, since this is going to be a sequel to Breaking Bad, I wonder if maybe they haven't got to since we know that season 5 of Better Call Saul is happening and that they're in production right now for season 5. We don't know an air date quite yet. But if, like, let's just say if Kim and Hamlin and Hamlin and all of them and all the characters from Better Call Saul, if we don't get to see them in season 5, because I kind of got a feeling that season 5 is going to be very Breaking Bad heavy, because this is going to be the start of Saul Goodman. So I wonder if we're going to see some characters from Better Call Saul in the Breaking Bad movie sequel, or if this is going to be focusing on Jesse and what's he doing with his life.
Could be. Well, speaking of Kim, I was watching an old episode of, well, it was a recent episode of Law and Order SVU the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And she was on there. I said, that's Kim.
Yeah.
It wasn't an older episode. It was like maybe from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here. The film is going to be written by Vince Gilligan. The Breaking Bad movie will be written by Vince Gilligan. So I am relieved on that side.
Yeah.
He said it'd be at least until 2021 before it can be released.
Yeah.
This is from radiotimes.com.
I was going to say the Rick Grimes movies probably won't start till probably 2020.
Yeah. They said that the Hollywood Reporter reported that Netflix will have first-run rights to the project before it airs on AMC, but Netflix, AMC, and Sony has declined to confirm this. And what's the movie going to be about? Cranston's the details are under wraps, but Cranston suggested that'll give some closure to some storylines that was left open at the end of the series. And this is what he has. This is what he has to say. It's a great story, and there are a lot of people who felt that they wanted to see some kind of completion to some of the storylines that were left open. Cranston said, "This idea, from what I am told, gets into those." So I guess the big storyline is, did Huel ever get out of the house? Is Huel still in the house? Oh man, but I think it'll be. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited for this because Vince Gilligan is going to write it. Hopefully he'll direct it because he'll direct the hell out of that movie.
Yeah.
And then maybe we might see some flashbacks and have some. We see Walter White and Gus and some of the other characters from Breaking Bad.
That'd be cool.
We got to get Mike. Hopefully Mike's in there.
Yeah.
In a flashback. Let me look up Better Call Saul real quick and see if there's any news on season 5. According to hiddenremote.com, they're suggesting that Better Call Saul might be late summer, early fall of this year. I just hope we don't have to wait a year for it. But yeah, all right. So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Like I said, what we're going to do is, instead of discussing each individual episode with each individual shows, we're going to discuss the entire episodes together with the season finale of season 9. And the episodes are, we discussed Adaptation, Omega. Tomorrow night's is Bounty. Next week's is Guardians. Then Choke Point, Scars, The Calm Before, and The Storm are the episode titles. And Scars, I wonder if that's going to be with the scars of Daryl and Michonne. Or if that's what the title's alluding to. That's my prediction for that episode.
Because we're going to have to see, what happens with that. We're definitely going to see what happens with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see here. And we got, okay, so we didn't see Negan in Omega, but we've got to see him at some time, in some point before the season finale. And I hope him and Lucille reunites by the end of the season. They got to reunite.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're going to end it right here. The next time we'll be with you guys will be, let's see here, April the 6th. Yep, April the 6th. Because that's when the season finale is March the 31st, right? Yep. So April the 6th, we'll be back discussing all the episodes and the story that they're going to bring to us. And I'm thrilled about this season, in the second half of this season, and hopefully they can keep this momentum going. But I still would like to have season 10 be the final season for The Walking Dead, instead of having it drawn out for like season 18 and 19 and 20. But season 10, I think what they need to do is with season 10 is to wrap everything up with the Alexandria and Michonne stuff and Daryl stuff, wrap that up, and then maybe do like a spin-off with a different group and a different type of storyline. Just a suggestion, and I can't wait for the Rick Grimes movies to come out. That's going to be quite interesting as well. But all right, so yeah, let's go ahead and end this, and we'll see you here April the 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night, everybody.